So thank you for your patience. We'll start now. Om Ajnanatirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanyam Ishwaram. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for your patience, and I'm very grateful that you have joined again for the part 2 class on the glories of Sripad Madhvacharya, who is one of the most illustrious Vaishnava Acharyas and preachers in our Sampradaya. So we'll continue from where we left off last time. Last time we were speaking about Sripad Madhvacharya in giving sannyas to Narahari Tīrtha, and he asked him to stay at the Gajapati kingdom. Now, during Ramayana, Lord Ram had a very interesting pastime with one Brahmana. One Brahman was very attached to Lord Ram, and he had taken a vow that if I don't see the Lord, I will not take food. So every day morning he would come and he would take darshan of Lord Ram in his palace, and then only he would take prasad. But one day Lord Ram had to go on his kingly duty somewhere out. So this Brahman did not take water, did not take food, and the Lord did not return. Meanwhile, 2 days passed, 3 days passed. So this Brahman would come every day, but he would not get the darshan of Lord. And after 7 weeks, when Lord Ram came, this Brahman had become so weak and he was about to die. So Lord Ram, feeling compassion, asked Mother Sita to give one deity. So Mother Sita was worshipping one very special deity of Sita Ram, Mula Rama deity. She was worshipping that deity. So Lord Ram asked her to give that deity. And then Lord Ram gave that deity to the Brahmana and telling him that next time onwards, you don't fast like that for 7 days. I will feel very sad. So you just keep this deity with you and just look at the deity, take darshan, and then you take prasad. So this Brahman was very grateful to the Lord and he kept the deity. And when he became old and he was about to leave his body, actually this deity was worshipped by Mother Sita. She gave this deity to Lakshman. Lord Ram took it from Lakshman and gave it to this Brahman. And this Brahman, when he was about to die, he called for Lord Hanuman and he gave the deity to Hanumanji and told him that now I am dying, you please take it, keep this deity with you. So Hanumanji took this deity and kept it with him. And when there was a pastime in the Dwapara Yuga, when Bhima came to the Himalayas to collect a special lotus flower for Draupadi and Maharaj Yudhishthir, at that time, there was a pastime of Bhima and Hanuman where Bhima tried to, not understanding Hanuman, he was trying to remove his tail. There was a beautiful long pastime. So there Hanumanji and Brahmaji met, Hanumanji and Bhima, they met. I'm sorry, Bhima, not Balram or Brahma. So Bhima and Hanumanji met, and Hanumanji, out of affection for his younger brother, gave him this deity of Ram, Mula Rama deity. And Bhima kept it, and then the Pandavas worshipped this deity. And then it came to their descendant, Maharaj Parikshit. And then it came to Janamejaya, Parikshit Maharaj's son. Then it went on in the Parampara till Kshema Kanta, was the last king in the lineage of Pandavas. Finally, this deity came to the Gajapati kings in Orissa. So Madhvacharya, because he's the incarnation of Bhima, Hanuman, Vayudev, so he asked Narari Tīrtha to stay in this Gajapati kingdom and serve the king. And although he was a sannyasi, Narari Tīrtha, but he took care of the administration of the kingdom so that eventually when the king would be ready, the prince regent would become the king. That time Narari Tīrtha for his services would get the gift. So he could take this gift from the treasury and then he could then come and meet Madhvacharya. So for so many years, for more than 3 to 4 decades, Narari Tīrtha served his spiritual master Sripad Madhvacharya in separation, just so that Madhvacharya's vision and mission of getting this deity of Lord Ram could be fulfilled. So this is a very, very inspiring pastime of service to the Guru in separation. And daily, Madhvacharya would give class at the Ananteshwara temple. And there is a, even today, if you go, you will see that spot from where Madhvacharya gave class every day. They have lit a lamp there. Since the time of Madhvacharya, that lamp is burning there. And it's a very peace-inducing sight. And I used to go there for the last 7 months when I was in Udupi. Every day I would try to chant my japa there. Very beautiful, serene place. And and he would give class there, and there's a lamp kept there. I used to wonder why they have not kept a deity there of Madhvacharya or his photo, but only the lamp is kept in that spot. And the reason for that is Sripad Tīrtha, who was one of the descendants of Madhvacharya. In fact, he is the most powerful descendant of Madhvacharya. After Madhvacharya, Madhvacharya disappeared from this world around 1308 or something. And Sripad Tīrtha appeared in this world in the year 1480. So when Tīrtha was the main Mathadish and he was taking care of the Udupi administration, he decided that he will keep Madhvacharya's deity there in that spot. But that time Madhvacharya appeared in his dream and gave him a vision saying that, no, I just want the lamp there. Let the lamp keep burning for eternity. So when we go there and we offer prayers, we feel connected to eternity because, that is a spot from where Sripad Madhvacharya would give class every day. And, and he's still there. He's present in his unmanifest form, guiding all his followers. One day, Sripad Madhvacharya, he would go to the Malpe beach to take bath. So when he was on his way, suddenly, spontaneously was filled with intense love for Krishna. So intense it was that tears started coming from his eyes, and without realizing what was happening, his body started shivering, and in great ecstasy, he started composing glorification of Krishna in choice poetry, which now today we know as Dvadasha Stotra. And he composed 5 chapters, means he kept chanting, and there are 46 verses. And Hare Krishna. So he was so ecstatic. He came and he sat there in the beach and with great affection started remembering Krishna. And then he was chanting his prayers. At that time, as he was meditating on the beach shore of the ocean, he saw that on the sea, near the beach, near the ocean shore, he saw one ship was stuck. And there was huge cyclone started flowing. And the ship was shaking in the wind. And it appeared that the ship would capsize and it would drown. It would sink. So, and Madhvacharya, feeling compassion, and meanwhile in the ship, the captain saw on the shore, distant, he saw one saintly personality sitting erect. And he was praying to the Lord for help. And Madhvacharya saw that ship. And he feeling compassion, he removed his outer shawl and he waved it. And because his incarnation of Vayudev, the power of his moving the shawl, the wind suddenly left that place and it became a pleasant weather. And then the ship came to safety, the shore. And the captain realized that this has happened because of some miraculous power of this saintly personality. So feeling great gratitude, he came and he offered obeisance to Madhvacharya, and he asked him that I want to serve you. please let me give you some gift. Let me give you the jewelry, gold, etc. that I had in my ship. Sripad Madhvacharya never wanted any of those things. So he said, no, I don't want any of that. Where are you coming from? So this ship captain said, I'm coming from Dwarka. So immediately Madhvacharya said, oh, Dwarka, you must be having some Gopi Chandan. So there was a large lump of Gopi Chandan. Sripad Madhvacharya took that Gopi Chandan. As soon as it took, he started feeling ecstatic again, like he was feeling in the morning when he was composing Dwadasha Stotra and singing Krishna's prayers. And holding that Gopi Chandan, tears flowing from his eyes, he came out and began to walk toward Udupi, and suddenly that Gopi Chandan cracked and it broke, and from inside a resplendent, beautiful deity of Krishna appeared. And the deity was like this. I'm showing you. I have this on my table every day. This is exactly how the deity is in its Mula original form when the dressing is not done, when the Abhishek is not done of the deities. This is exactly how the deity appeared to Sripad Madhvacharya from the Chandan that broke. So then, I hope all of you can see this deity. And this is the beautiful deity. And then, of course, we see the deity's photographs with all the decorations and jewelry. So that's different. But this is before the Shringar, before the Abhishek, when all the jewelry is removed. This is the way the deity appeared to Madhvacharya. Very special, isn't it? So Sripad Madhvacharya, when he got this deity, and then he understood why he was having those ecstasy in the morning. Why? Because Lord Krishna was waiting to appear before him. So Madhvacharya, feeling great happiness, became so ecstatic. There was Balram deity also along with this. So Balram deity, he kept it at that place itself, Malpe, Vadamandeshwara, that place is called where there is Balram deity. And he composed the remaining chapters from 6 to 12 of the Dwadasha Stotra while returning back to Udupi, singing in beautiful poetic meters, carrying Krishna's deity. So that place where Balramji deity he kept, and there was a temple made there. It is called Vadamandeshwara, beautiful Balram deity. Sometimes I go there when I go to Udupi. It is a few kilometers from Udupi. The temple is beautiful. The deity is extremely attractive, but there is nobody in the temple. The pujari is there, rituals happen, but very few people come there because people prefer watching IPL on TV. No festivals. But interestingly, next to that Vadamandeshwara temple, on the side there are a few churches, and those churches are packed with people. A lot of people and a lot of churches and a lot of mass happens, but nobody in Krishna temple, Balram temple. So I used to feel envious when I used to go there and I used to see that. But I guess that only means we have to preach more and tell people about Krishna. Anyway, so Madhvacharya, feeling great ecstasy, was carrying Krishna back to Udupi, and he was singing songs all the way. Then he came to Madhva Sarovar. There is a small lake, a pond in the temple, where we have the Krishna temple now. There he bathed this deity, and then he kept the deity, and then he started offering prayers, and he called the different assistants to place the deity in a particular altar, but nobody could lift the deity. 30 men came to lift, but they could not lift. So Sripad Madhvacharya smiled. He understood that the Lord wants to be served only by him. So he himself carried the deity and he kept the deity on the altar. And since then, only the sannyasis can touch the deity. So last 850 years, this worship is going on every day. And Madhvacharya established some rituals to be performed from morning 4 o'clock till 12:30 in the afternoon. All the rituals are performed exactly the same way for the last 850 years. Under the guidance of Sripad Madhvacharya, same ditto. And the sannyasis don't drink water or eat anything till that worship is complete at 12:30 in the morning. So their entire focus is on deity worship. And then Sripad Madhvacharya selected 8 sannyasis and told them that you should serve this Krishna deity for 2 months each. So by rotation, after 14 months, you will get a chance. So that rotation system started for worship. For daily worship of Krishna started like that. Of course, now it doesn't happen for 2 months. When Vajraja Tīrtha became the main pontiff, main seer of the Udupi Matha, he changed the system from 2 months to 2 years. He said when they worship for 2 months, then they're not able to go and travel and preach, because then within 14 months they have to be back for service. So he made it 2 years so that they serve for 2 years every day. And then for the next 14 years, they can travel, preach a lot, and then again they come back and worship like that. So that system is going on since 1510 or 1515. I think they started this system of 2 years. This is called Paryaya, where for a stipulated period of time, which was 2 months earlier, and now it is 2 years. One sannyasi from one of the matas worships, and then the next sannyasi worships. Like that, those 8 sannyasis, and each of them has a parampara. So last 800 years, the parampara, they all have maintained the records, each of these 8 sannyasis. And his disciple, and then his disciple, like that, each sannyasis from Madhva Acharya onwards, there have been some 35 descendants, 35 to 36 descendants in each of these 8 sannyasis. So like that, it's a beautiful parampara tradition, strictly maintained. And the worship of Krishna, because this is baby Krishna, little Krishna, small Krishna. So the worship of Krishna is just like the way the elderly gopis in Vrindavan would worship Krishna. So in the night when they worship Krishna, the sannyasis, they chant, they dance, they offer chamar seva, and they put Krishna to sleep. This Krishna deity is known as Muddu Krishna, darling Krishna. And when Madhva Acharya established the deity of Krishna, remember I spoke about Dwaita philosophy and the Mayavad and the impersonalist. That lost ground. People were drowning themselves in the nectar of bhakti. So then there was no place for impersonalist speculations. And Udupi became a beautiful place of bhakti, of offering loving emotions to Krishna. And then Madhva Acharya began his social reform. He stopped smarta rituals, the animal sacrifices, like that. And all these pastimes you will find in a book called Madhva Vijaya, which was written by Pandit Narayana Acharya, details of Madhva's life. And the most fascinating aspect of Madhva Acharya's life is the second trip to Badrinath. After establishing Krishna's worship, he decided that it was time to again go to Badrinath to meet his spiritual master, Srila Vyasadeva. And this was a very, very fascinating journey. This time, earlier he had gone with a very few disciples, and he was headed by Satya Tīrtha. But now, Satya Tīrtha was there. Along with Satya Tīrtha, there was Upendra Tīrtha also, was another sannyasi, and 30 more. For total 30, 35 disciples and followers, they went. And first they came to one of the most interesting incidents that happened was at Maharashtra, near Devagiri, King Mahadev. He was the king. He was a tyrant. And he was busy. He loved to engage people in menial work. And he would do all public work, infrastructure work, construction work. And he would engage common man and not pay them any money. So basically, he would levy heavy taxes and he would not spend money from the government exchequer for these road projects. He would make people work for free. So he was expert in free labor. So when Madhva Acharya's team, they were all passing by, this king's team stopped them and said that you also have to work and you have to also break rocks and build bridges. So Sripad Madhvacharya was not interested in this. He was on a mission to go to Badrinath with his sannyasis. So how do I do that? So he said, I want to meet your king, Mahadev. So commanding was his voice that the assistant of the king could not refuse, and they took him to King Mahadev, who was a cruel tyrant. But Madhvacharya, see, he is not a ruler of men. The king was a ruler of men, but Madhvacharya was a ruler of the hearts. So charming was his personality that he told the king that, you are a great king and you are teaching us by example. So why don't you see, I'm a sannyasi. We are not used to this activity, but we would love to serve you. And why don't you show us by your own example and show us how to dig the road? So we will see you and then we will do. So captivating was his speech, and so dignified was Sripad Madhvacharya that King Mahadev came there, and in front of everyone, he started digging to show Madhvacharya. And as he started digging, he became so absorbed that he went into samadhi digging. And Sripad Madhvacharya looked at his disciples and said, now let us resume our walk to Badrinath. So they left, and the king kept digging the whole day. So it was a powerful pastime. And then they walked. Coolly they left the place and they walked to Badrinath. And when they came on the way, they came to Ganga. There they met a very important, I think all of us know in history, Jalaluddin Khilji was the uncle of Alauddin Khilji, who was also a very fanatic. Actually, Jalaluddin Khilji was very fanatic. He was elderly. He was at that time 70 years old. And he had made a rule that no kafirs or no infidels and non-Muslims can cross this particular section of the river and come on that side. And it was a ban on Hindus crossing that river. So Sripad Madhvacharya had to cross that because that was the only way to go to Badrinath. So he told his disciples to hold hands. So they all held hands of each other. And then he made a chain. And Madhvacharya was standing right in the front. So just like, Vasudev, when he was carrying Krishna from Mathura to Vrindavan, Yamuna made way. So here, Ganga made way and Madhvacharya walked straight in the middle of the river, and his disciples holding each other's hands with faith in Guru, they all entered the water, and the water made way, and then they came to the other side. And Alauddin Khilji's servants were shocked. They were like, how could this man do this? So they were surprised by Madhvacharya's mystical pastimes. So they confronted him. They said, who are you and how did you come here? So Sripad Madhvacharya, and they said, you have to go back. You're not allowed. So Sripad Madhvacharya said, I want to talk to your king. So they took him to Alauddin Khilji. And when Alauddin Khilji saw Madhvacharya, he was shocked because he was wondering how his soldiers spared the life of the sannyasi and his disciples, because the soldiers were ruthless, and there is a sannyasi in saffron robes, and he's challenging them, and he's crossing the river. And secondly, he was shocked because he had crossed the river. So this was completely mystical. At that time, very famous, you must be knowing, Amir Khusro was a Persian poet. He was the king's librarian at that time, Jalaluddin Khilji. So he has noted this incident, Amir Khusro. Jalaluddin was surprised by this pastime, mystical pastime, and he was also stunned to see the beauty of Madhvacharya, his dignity, his strength. And he said, my soldiers didn't harm you. So Sripad Madhvacharya then replied to him. But he replied to him in fluent Persian language. And this was the third biggest shock for Alauddin Khilji. And he offered obeisances to Madhvacharya. And Madhvacharya, till that time, he was a kind of a political offender. But then, after he started speaking Persian and he performed these mystical pastimes, he became an honored guest of the king. And he and his entourage of disciples were treated royally, and they were, the Alauddin Khilji helped them cross his kingdom with great fanfare. But then they left, and then they went to the next region, and they were traveling to Badrinath. They came to a thick forest filled with dacoits of the northern India. And the large gang of robbers attacked Madhvacharya's group. And Madhvacharya asked his sannyasis to give their shawls. So the sannyasis have a shawl like this. He collected all the shawl and made it into one ball. And he threw that ball at the gang of dacoits. And that ball appeared like gold. So right in front of Madhvacharya and the disciples, just simply stood there watching the spectacle. These dacoits, thinking it is gold, started fighting with each other, and they actually killed each other. This was an intense pastime showing the power of greed. Then after this dacoits pastime, they continued the journey, and more than 100 thieves again attacked this group, and they stopped them and they said, give us all your wealth and whatever you carry. And that time, Upendra Tīrtha was also one of the very close associates of Madhvacharya. He was a sannyasi disciple, and he was very gentle and soft. Like in our temple, we have some brahmacharis who are very gentle. They can't even harm a fly. Very soft-spoken, mild-natured, very gentle. Suddenly something happened. Sripad Madhvacharya just touched him, and Upendra Tīrtha roared, and he jumped on one of the dacoits, pulled out the sword from that dacoit's waist, and started fighting with all the dacoits, and he crushed all of them to defeat, wounded them, killed some of them, and they all ran away in fear. And all Madhvacharya's disciples and other associates were shocked. They said, Upendra Tīrtha has never even touched a sword in his life, and now he's wielding the sword and fighting like a champion warrior. Of course, they realized that their guru had touched and empowered his disciple. Another place when they went, there was also another gang of thieves who attacked. But suddenly Madhvacharya appeared like a huge rock boulder, and the thieves saw that there are some 30-35 huge boulders. So they were surprised. So there were human beings, suddenly they become rocks. And as they were standing perplexed, Madhvacharya and his disciples, who were standing there like rocks and boulders, began to move. Imagine huge boulders moving on their own. So like this kind of mystical pastimes they perform. And then one tiger attacked the group, huge tiger. And the tiger attacked Sripad, and the tiger attacked Satyatirtha. Satyatirtha was very close to Madhvacharya, and he grabbed his arm, and everyone was scared. And that time Madhvacharya hit the tiger with this fist, and the tiger fled away immediately. The tiger was so scared of Sripad Madhvacharya that he ran away from there. So like that, beautiful pastimes happened. And Sripad Madhvacharya then came to Badrinath. And this time again, he went to Upper Badri to meet Vasudev. And there, Srila Vasudev gave him 8 Shaligram Shilas. They're very special Shaligram Shilas. Still, they're worshipped by the sannyasis. But you can imagine Vasudev giving Shaligram Shilas. Vasudev is the one we are reading in our Sunday morning classes. Narada Muni directing Vasudev. Vasudev is literary incarnation of Krishna, who is staying in Upper Badri for the last thousands and thousands of years doing meditation. And he is staying in a place where humans cannot access. And Madhvacharya goes there, gets 8 Shaligram Shilas, and those Shaligram Shilas are still worshipped by the sannyasis. And second thing that happened there was Vasudev revealed to him the secrets, purports of Mahabharata, because Vasudev wrote the Mahabharata, right? So he revealed 32 chapters called the Tattvavāda. These are all this is the most important, in any Madhva family, Madhva traditional family, you will find these books, Tattvavāda and Madhva Acharya literature. So these 8 Shaligram Shilas are there. One is in Udupi, the one is in Subramanya, which is close to Udupi. One is in the Sode Matha, Sri Vadaraja Tīrtha worshipped that, and the 5 are at the Uttaradi Matha. Because Madhvacharya gave sannyas to 28 disciples, and 8 of them are prominent in the Udupi area who worship Udupi Krishna. The remaining 20 are having their own parampara. They're all part of the same tradition, and each one of them has maintained parampara. Amazing, isn't it? Each one of them has had his sannyasi disciple who carried forward the tradition like that. So while coming back from Badrinath now to Udupi, Sripad Madhvacharya told his disciples that I want to go to Kurukshetra, because Kurukshetra was the place where he performed the pastime as Bhimasen in the previous yuga. So all of them came to Kurukshetra, but on the way they had to cross another river where there was another Yavana king who had made a rule that they cannot cross. He had made a rule that there will be no boats available. So for the Hindus to cross. But Madhvacharya and his entourage had to cross. So Madhvacharya performed a different pastime here. To the utter amazement of everyone, he walked on the water and he came on the other side. Everyone on the other side was shocked. And they asked him, what did you do? How did you do it? He said, just listen to me. My disciples are on the other side. Send the boats and get them here. So stunning was his pastime, and so commanding was his voice, and so charming was his personality, that the soldiers simply obeyed the order. They sent the boats, and all the other disciples came in those boats, and they were treated royally in that kingdom, worshipped. And then he continued his journey, came to Kurukshetra. He took them to the spot and he explained to them that this is a place where the battle was fought and Mahabharata war was fought. And there, at one particular spot, he told one of his disciples to dig the ground. And when they dug the ground, he told them to keep digging further. And then a huge mace was there. Madhvacharya picked it up. It was a huge mace. And he picked it up, which, 50 people could not lift. Madhvacharya lifted it. And in fact, this was the Gada which Bhima I used when I was Bhimasen, and I broke Duryodhana's thighs. And after showing it to all the disciples, he put that mace back because he didn't want the atheistic people to get access to this, and he wanted like Krishna, he performs his pastimes and also his pure devotees in such a way that it requires tremendous amount of faith. And you perform pastimes, you reveal, but if you show everything, if you make everything accessible, then people take cheaply. So Madhvacharya, he put the mace back and he said, let it remain here. When I come in my next incarnation, again I will show it, but let this mace remain here hidden from all human vision. So he kept it hidden, and immediately Satyatirtha and Upendra Tirtha, they noted it and they recorded it, and then later on Narayana Acharya mentions it in the biography of Sripad Madhvacharya. Then from there they came to Banaras, which was the hot seat of the impersonalist school, where a lot of sannyasis, the sannyasis there are the surnames Saraswati, Puri, Tīrtha. All the sannyasis, their main leader was Indrapuri, and he had a massive debate with Madhvacharya, and he finally accepted defeat and he honored Madhvacharya. And there were many wrestlers also in Banaras. And Madhvacharya, he would convince of Krishna Bhakti scholarly way to scholars, and to wrestlers he would challenge them in wrestling, because he was Viva after all, So it was a fascinating sight, a great sannyasi, and there were two most powerful wrestlers of Varanasi. They came, and there was a big event arranged. And Sripad Madhvacharya said, I'll wrestle with you later. First, I'm standing, you come and move my feet, my toe, just remove my toe. So both of them could not move Madhvacharya's toe. He was just standing straight, and none of them could move his toe. So it was a fascinating sight, and it became big news there. And then Madhvacharya was honored as a great, powerful warrior also. That's why I think Jayadas Prabhu's drama was Warrior Saint, I think. I don't know what is the title of the drama. I think it was Warrior Saint, I think. Anyway, so that was a beautiful pastime. And then on the return way, you would show this, as I told you last time, you would perform pastimes of honoring massive amounts of prasad. So while coming back, at one place he ate 1,000 bananas, and another place 4,000 bananas and 30 pots of milk, huge pots of milk. So like that he performed many pastimes. And Madhvacharya was a great kirtaniya also. He would sing beautiful songs, and that's how the bhakti movement started in South India. His beautiful narration, his beautiful chanting of prayers was very attractive. And then when he came back to Udupi, by that time in the Sringeri Mutt, if you remember in the last class I spoke about Vidyashankar Tīrtha, his successor was Padma Tīrtha, and he had his disciple Pundarika Puri. They went on a big strategy to denounce Madhvacharya as a deviant. So it's a long story, and I will, when we go to Udupi Yatra, if one of you organize, if some of you organize, we can go there and discuss in great detail the discussion between Pundarika Puri and Padma Tīrtha with Madhvacharya, and how they had a massive debate, and Madhvacharya crushed all their arguments. Finally, they became so, they were ungracious in defeat, that they stole Madhvacharya's books in the night and they ran away. And Sripad Madhvacharya said, I'll personally chase them. He chased them to the king Jayasimha's kingdom. And there he confronted them and they begged forgiveness. And then Madhvacharya had a Sankirtan procession back. In fact, that king, Jayasimha, became Madhvacharya's disciple. He was stunned to see the determination and the personality of Sripad Madhvacharya. And the most renowned scholar at that time in the entire of South India was Brahma Acharya, who was the most renowned Dwaita philosopher. And his younger brother was already disciple of Madhvacharya, and he was a librarian in charge of Madhvacharya's books. So Trivikrama Acharya, he had a discussion with Madhvacharya and he surrendered to Madhvacharya and he accepted the Dwaita philosophy and Madhvacharya's shelter. And he wrote maximum commentaries on Madhvacharya's works, and his disciple, he didn't write the maximum commentaries, but he did write commentaries. And his son is Narayana Acharya, who I spoke about as authorized. So Narayana Acharya was there live watching most of these pastimes of Madhvacharya. And some he took from the notes of Satya Tīrtha and Upendra Tīrtha. And one of the person who has written maximum commentaries on Sripad Madhvacharya is Jaya Tīrtha. And this is a very interesting pastime of Jaya Tīrtha. I have to tell you this. This is the power of hearing. How hearing is so powerful. Shravanam, our process is all based on Shravanam. So for this, I always say this pastime. When Sripad Madhvacharya would give Bhagavatam classes in Ananteshwara temple, at the Ananteshwara temple, his disciples would be hearing. So one day, one disciple asked in front of everyone that, Gurudev, you speak such beautiful classes, you have written so many beautiful works. Who amongst us will be your successor in terms of writing commentaries and explaining your teachings to the common people and making it accessible? So Sripad Madhvacharya looked at all of them and said, none of you. So he was shocked. The disciple was shocked. He said, none of us. He said, no. None of you are hearing as attentively as. He turned around and there is a bullock. So Madhvacharya, wherever he would go, all his books would be kept on a cloth bag, and that cloth bag would be on top of a bullock. And that bullock would be going with Madhvacharya wherever he went for discussions, katha, debates. So that Bullock, Madhvacharya said this, he will be the one who will give best commentary on my works, because he hears attentively. When I speak, if he's chewing grass, he stops chewing. He just listens attentively to whenever I'm speaking. So this was true. Everybody saw this, that this Bullock would not eat or anything. He would be hearing with rapt attention. Madhvacharya said he will write the maximum commentaries. So one of the disciples got so upset. He said, how can we are all great sannyasis, and this is simply an animal. So he said, you Bullock, you will die by a serpent bite. He got so angry with that. So he kind of cursed. So Madhvacharya smiled when he heard this. And in front of everyone, he arranged a pastime where a huge serpent came, and that serpent bit the Bullock. So the sannyasi thought, my prediction, my curse has come true now. But what happened? In front of everyone, nothing happened to the Bullock, but the serpent died there only. So this was an amazing pastime. So then Madhvacharya said he will be a great teacher. And a few years later, the Bullock died, and that Bullock was reborn as Tīrtha, who wrote what is most famous commentary on Dwadasha Sutra. And he wrote the Nyaya Sudha, which every Madhva scholar, Madhva philosopher is an expert in. And then, like this many pastimes, Sripad Madhvacharya's younger brother, if you remember, I had spoken about how he was there to take care of Madhvacharya's parents. So when his parents got very old, he took care of them, and then after he performed his duties towards them, he came and joined Madhvacharya as his sannyasi disciple, and he got the name Vishnu Tīrtha. And he was there at what we now know as the Surya Mutt, Vishnu Tīrtha, he was there. And then these 8 sannyasis, actually Madhvacharya did not start the Matha system. He gave 8 sannyasi disciples, and he told them you should go with the begging bag, bowl, and you should take beg from maximum 7 houses. Whatever you get, that should be your food. But then this system was affecting their worship of Krishna, because sometimes in some houses maybe the inhabitants are not clean or pure to cook or whatever. So there are some complications. So they made a system of having one cook with them who would cook prasad for them. So that solved the problem. And when the sannyasis would serve and worship, then slowly some of the sannyasis, they started getting property, they started getting donations. So they made a small matha. So from that matha, they would come and worship Krishna. So that made it easier. The management became smoother. But Madhvacharya did not start the matha system. Shankaracharya had started it. He had established 4 mathas in 4 corners of India. Badrinath, we know Dwarka, Puri, Sringeri, like that, north, south, east, west. But Madhvacharya did not start that system. He was not in favor. He didn't talk about it, matha system. He said just be dependent on Krishna, serve Krishna, lead a simple life. That's why the Udupi Krishna temple also he made very simple. He said just glorify Krishna, be dependent on Krishna. That was his mood. But when people came and gave donations, so to make a system management proper, they made 8 mathas surrounding that Krishna matha, and from that matha they would come, they would serve. So the things became smoother. But Madhvacharya never told or preached, he never approved of a sannyasi accumulating wealth, keeping property in his name, and that's very, very wrong. So he never approved of that. So this is the way. And then what happened? Like for example, one sannyasi, like say Janardhan Tīrtha, he was one of the sannyasis of Madhvacharya. So he started getting donations, for example. And then some villages, the villages, they gave a lot of property. Like for example, Janardhan Tīrtha, his descendants, his lineage is today known as Krishnapur Mutt. So Madhvacharya's 8 disciples, they are 8 sannyasis, and their parampara is known by 8 names of 8 mathas. So Krishnapur is a village near Udupi, where residents gave a lot of donations to Janardhan Tīrtha and encouraged him to worship Krishna, and they took initiation from him. So the place where he stayed, that matha is called as Krishnapur Matha. So Vamana Tīrtha was another sannyasi. Vamana Tīrtha, Narasimha Tīrtha, Upendra Tīrtha, Rama Tīrtha, Rishikesh Tīrtha, and Akshobhya Tīrtha. So Vamana Tīrtha's parampara is today known as Kaniyur Matha. Narasimha Tīrtha is known as Adamar Matha. These are all names of villages: Adamar, Kaniyur, Puttige, Shirur. But if you go there to Udupi today, they will say it is. They will call the matha. The sannyasi is known by the matha name. Oh, this is Pejavar Matha sannyasi. No, Pejavar Vishwa Prasanna Tīrtha is the name of the sannyasi. His guru was Visheshwara Tīrtha. Visheshwara Tīrtha's guru, like that. There's a parampara, but they are known by their mathas. The Solya Mutt, for example, was known as Kumbhashi Matha because of Kumbhashi was a village. A lot of disciples were there, but now it is known as Sodev. Sodev, another village. So names change like that. So there are 8 mathas by the names. And Madhva Acharya, during his last days, when he was 77, 78 years old, also he would perform pastime. He would sing beautifully. Once he demonstrated a very interesting pastime while giving class, while singing Kirtan. 2 powerful wrestlers came. They wanted to see, how to impress, how to preach. You preach different way to different people. Scholarly, you can debate with them. And these wrestlers are nice-hearted people, but to impress them, to convince them about Krishna Bhakti, Madhva Acharya performed a very amusing pastime. He told them, I'm singing Kirtan. You are great wrestlers. Why don't you press my neck and see if my singing is affected, if the pitch and the tune in which I am singing gets distorted. So these wrestlers, both of them, they pressed Madhva Acharya's neck very strong. So when somebody presses our neck, we can't talk, right? We can't talk. But when they press Madhva Acharya's neck, his singing was high pitch, low pitch. He was singing effortlessly, seamlessly, without any disturbance. Everyone was stunned to see this amazing, miraculous pastime. So like that, he attracted this. And there was a young boy. How he got attracted to Madhva Acharya? Madhva Acharya was tall, handsome personality. So he jumped on this young boy's shoulder and said, you walk and you carry me. And this young boy was surprised. Madhva Acharya became light like a feather. And he was sitting on this boy's shoulder, and this boy was going around Udupi town. And everyone saw this long, tall, wonderful personality sitting on the shoulder of a young boy. So like that. Actually, in the Mysore Gazette, Clive Rice mentions a few things in chapter, 16. I saw it in that biography I was reading. Some quotes are there. But then Sripad Madhvacharya, during his last, how he left this world is also very interesting. He was giving a class on the Aitreya Upanishad. Madhvacharya wrote 37 books. And he was giving class, and he was speaking on the Aitreya Upanishad, and there's a verse which says, one should surrender to Narayan and go out and preach the message. So the last words he spoke was, go out and preach. So when he said that, go out and preach, he instructing his disciples, that very moment, Madhvacharya disappeared from the vision of everyone there, and flowers fell on that spot. And that's why Madhvacharya said no deity of mine should be there in that dream to Vajraja Tīrtha, because he said, I was not physically present, I just disappeared. I just went back to Badrikashram. Madhvacharya went back to Vasudeva Tīrtha in that transcendental journey. It is not understandable by our human vision. So this was, and this spot is maintained. They worship that place every day in the morning at Ananteshwara temple, and it's a beautiful. There are many things we can speak about Udupi, about Madhva Acharya, but I would like to now conclude by explaining briefly about the way things are there now. In the Udupi Krishna temple complex, you will find one place called Vrindavan. Like we know Vrindavan as in Mathura district, but this is the Vrindavan here, refers to the Samadhi. The sannyasis, after they leave their body, their Samadhi is made. So many of the sannyasis, they left their body during the Paryaya, which is considered most auspicious. Paryaya, if you remember, I mentioned, is this 2-year period when they serve Krishna. So when they were serving Krishna in that 2-year period, some of them left their bodies. So that Samadhi is made there. And that Samadhi is such a powerful place. All the sannyasis, each mata has some 35, 36 sannyasis. And each of the sannyasis has led a pure life. They took sannyas at the age of 7 or 8, young boys, and they lived till the age of 85, 90, 95. Whole life serving Krishna. And that Vrindavan area, the Samadhis are made. Till recently, there was no name mentioned anywhere in any of the Samadhi. So I would go there, I would feel, wow, this is the height of being insignificant, unknown to the world, just serving Krishna and then leaving the world. But only, I think, 2 years back, 3 years back, I think one of the sannyasis there, just to help people connect to the parampara better, it is written names of all the sannyasis in each of the Samadhi. Whose Samadhi it is, their names are mentioned. So it's amazing. Each of the sannyasis has many pastimes, many interactions with Krishna. And they're self-effacing, unknown to the world, happy, quietly serving Krishna. Like one of them, if you go to Palimar Matha is one of the 8 mathas surrounding the Krishna Matha. Rishikesha, see, if you go to that matha outside, they put a wood board. Rishikesha Tīrtha Samsthanam. Means Rishikesha Tīrtha was the first sannyasi of Madhvacharya in that parampara. See, Madhvacharya gave 8 sannyasis, worship of Krishna. One of them was Rishikesha Tīrtha. So Rishikesha Tīrtha's parampara, 35 sannyasis. So they all are now called as sannyasis of Palimar Matha. Palimar was a village in whose name that entire parampara is now known. So in Palimar Matha, in that parampara from Rishikesha Tīrtha, there was one sannyasi who was the main in charge of the Palimar Matha from the year 1780 to 1810. He was the every matha has 2 sannyasis, the senior and the junior. The senior is the in charge and the junior is the one who gets training. When the senior leaves his body, the junior becomes the senior and he will give sannyas to one more person. So like that, every mutt can have maximum 2 sannyasis at any given point of time. So Raghu Pravira Tīrtha Swamiji from the Palimaru Matha, I think. Yes, Palimaru Matha. There's a very beautiful pastime, Raghu Pravira Tīrtha. He, from 1780 to 1810, he was the main in charge of the Matha. So during his tenure, he was very attached to one cow called Narmada in the Goshala of Udupi, where Narmada cow's milk was the one he was using for doing Abhishek of Krishna. So during those days, Udupi was a small town, there was a forest nearby. So when these cows were taken for grazing, one tiger had attacked this cow, and the cow had gone missing. So nobody knew where the cow was. So Swamiji was waiting for the cow. He wanted the milk of that cow, and he became very sad that Krishna cannot be served today with this milk. So when he heard that and then he came to know that the tiger had attacked, he became so sad that he sat outside his matha, Dhyana Mudra, deciding to give up his body, feeling that he is responsible for Krishna's favorite cow being devoured by a tiger. But Krishna is so kind. There is Krishna in everybody's heart as Paramatma. So Krishna in the heart of the tiger influenced the tiger to come to Udupi and from the forest, and everyone was shocked to see this tiger coming near the Udupi temple complex. In that town area, the tiger walked straight in front of Palimar Matha, in front of Raghu Pravira Tīrtha Swamiji, and offered full dandavat to him and gave up his body. The tiger died there. So today also, if you go to the Vrindavan area in Udupi, the Samadhi, Raghu Pravira Tīrtha Swamiji Samadhi is there, and next to it the tiger Samadhi is also there. This is a very special tiger who was directed by Krishna to come and surrender to the Swamiji. So like that, most of the sannyasis, they take sannyas at the young age. Now, of course, they've changed the system, because in this century, I think a couple of sannyasis, they changed their ashram. In the last 1850 years, nobody has ever changed the ashram. Once they've taken sannyas, they've remained sannyasis for their whole life. There has been no, what we call technically fall down at all. Only a couple of sannyasis have left, which is an incredible record. It is like 99.99% record of any tradition. And that too, those two happened in this century, in this last 100 years. So after that, they made a rule that, they will not give sannyas at a young age. Sannyas, they give only after, of course, they always consult the horoscopes and all that. But the sannyas is given at the age of after graduation. Like Admarmat Swamiji now, Ishapriya Tīrtha Swamiji is an electrical engineer. And Vidya Rajeshwara Tīrtha Swamiji, who took sannyas 2 years ago, is from the Palimar Matha. He is also, I think, a BCom graduate, and I saw his photographs in pant shirt, and he's a young boy. I think he's 21. But I think now they've made a rule of 18, 20 years. But in 2006, the Swadhyamad Swamiji, who took sannyas, Vishwavallabha Tirtha, he was 15 years old. I think that was the last time a young boy took sannyas, a teenager took sannyas. So now teenagers can't take sannyas, and now there is a system of you're being a little older. But Yeah, most of the sannyasis, they remain sannyasis till the age of 90, 95. They serve Krishna. And almost all of them leave their bodies in a dramatic way. They leave their bodies on an auspicious day, or while giving Charanamrit, or while worshipping Krishna. It's like they're married to Krishna. Sripad Madhvacharya had given deities to each of the sannyasis. 8 sannyasis whom he told you should worship Krishna. He said, you worship Udupi Krishna. And then he gave, say, Vittala Rukmini deity to the Puttigamat Swamiji, Upendra Tīrtha. This is Vittala Krishna. You worship this deity. So when you are serving Udupi Krishna, you worship Udupi Krishna and you also take your deity. And when somebody else is worshipping Udupi Krishna for that 2 months or 2 years, that time you also need to do deity worship. So you worship Rukmini Vittala. Like that. So, like for Kaniyur Mat Swamiji, he gave Narsimhadev deity. So and that Narsimha deity is still there in that matha, which Madhvacharya gave. So that parampara is continuing for last 850 years. The sannyasis worship their own deity and they also worship the Udupi Krishna deity. So when I go to Udupi, I go to these 8 mathas, and you go inside, you feel you have entered, you have gone back in time 800 years, because they have still maintained the same thing, except for the fan moving or the occasional light somewhere. You can't know that you are in 2020. It's like, it's the same, architecture. It's like same South Indian temple complex. Everything is exactly the same, maintained, and it is silent, quiet. And in some corner, I see Vishwapriya Tirtha Swamiji in Adamar Mutt. He took sannyas in the year 1971. Pure-hearted sannyasi, always saying Narayana, Narayana. His mouth, whenever he talks, every sentence there will be 3 times he will say Narayana. I say, oh, so where are you from? Narayana, Narayana. Oh, when are you going back to Mumbai? Narayana, Narayana. You are Narayana, you are, I think Narayana, I know you. Narayana keeps coming from his mouth. From childhood, he is a pure devotee. So you will see in one corner, no glamour, no fanfare, no showing off, nothing. He's sitting with a few disciples, students, some 10, 15 young Brahmana boys are sitting, and he's teaching them Tattvavāda or some Bhagavatam commentaries, and they are studying, they're writing notes. And an occasional fan is moving above. But otherwise, you can't know you are in 2020, year 2020. You will feel you have gone back in time. And their deities are also there in each of the mathas. They worship throughout the 14 years, and then after 14 years, for 2 years, they worship. They take their deity, I think. I don't know what they do. But they have a system. They worship Krishna deity then for 2 years. So each of the sannyasis is extremely pure, very wonderfully serving Krishna. I remember, some years ago, I went to Krishnapur Mutt, just to chant, I was doing parikrama. So there I saw Vidyasagar Tirtha Swamiji, who is the main pontiff, he was sitting in the corner. He did his yoga and he was sitting there and he was doing his japa. And then he was writing something. So I saw him. See, that's what I'm saying. They're very big people, but they have no glamour. They're accessible to common man. Like Vishweshwara Tirtha Swamiji, who left this world last year from Pejawar Mutt. He has got Padma Vibhushan. Padma Vibhushan is like, after Bharat Ratna, the second is Padma Vibhushan. The second highest civilian award any Indian can get. And when I would go and talk to him, he would talk, because we are from that village, Udupi village. He knew my father, uncle, grandfather very well. So he would talk to any common man, any caste. He would talk to us very normally, And he was in a missionary spirit of helping people practice the Sanatana Dharma. So anyway, this Vidyasagar Tirtha Maharaj was sitting in the corner. I went and asked him some questions. He was answering. So for every question I was answering, he would give answer. He would say, yeah, but you should pray to Krishna. Krishna, you subdued this Kaliya demon. You crushed his pride. So Krishna, you please remove this anartha from my heart like you defeated Kaliya. But then I would speak something else. Then I would talk. I asked some other question on anxiety or something. He said, yeah, Krishna is so kind. When Kaliya, Krishna was caught in the coils of Kaliya, the Brajvasis were also in anxiety. So in every answer he was giving, somehow he would speak something about Kaliya Krishna pastime. So I was wondering, how come he was connecting everything to Krishna and Kaliya pastime. So the discussion went on for 1 hour. Then I asked some other question about cow, something about, I don't remember what question I asked, but in the answer he would say something. Remember in that Kaliya pastime, this happened, like that. So I was wondering why he's speaking about Kaliya. Then I offered obeisances, then I did parikrama, then I came out of the matha, and then I realized, oh, this Swamiji, Krishnapur Mutt, that parampara which he is following, the tradition which he is in, here the deity, Madhvacharya gave deities, he gave Kalya Krishna deity to the Krishna Purmat Sanyasi. So the parampara they are worshipping is Kalya Krishna. So this sannyasi for last 50 years he is worshipping daily Kalya Krishna, Krishna dancing on the woods of Kalya. So naturally he is attached to Kalya Krishna so much. So whenever he is praying, he is talking, he will speak about Kalya Krishna. So Kalya Krishna is also there in one more temple, I think in Admarmat. So he gave 4 sets of deities. He gave Vittala Rukmini to 2 temples, 2 matas, Shirur Mata and Puttiga Mata. Narsimha deity to Kanur Mata and I think Sodaya Mata also. They are Vara deity also, like that. 2 sets, Rama deity to Palimar Mata and one more Mata, like that. I think I don't know, one of the matas. So basically, it's amazing how this sannyasi is worshipping this deity for last 40, 50 years every day. So when he's talking also, naturally he will speak about that pastime. Because that means his mind is absorbed in deity worship. This is the 2 things which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took from Madhva-sampradaya. Deity worship and defeating of Mayavad, impersonalist philosophy. So there are very high standards of deity worship. Morning 4 o'clock till 12:30, even at an advanced age. When I see Vidyasagar Tirtha Swamiji every day in the morning coming for Parikrama at Ananteshwara temple, Chandreshwara temple, they walk. They have 5 brahmanas in front of them, 10 brahmanas behind them, chanting the mantras. It's like, it's an amazing sight. You really feel you have gone back in time because they're following the same tradition, the same parikrama, same purity. That's why I used to feel so awkward because I'm the only brahmachari from ISKCON there during the lockdown. And the sannyasis, they have their timings when they come to temple. The Krishna Purmat Swamiji would come, then he would go, then another Mat Swamiji would come. So they would never clash. It was all perfectly, without watch, they knew when to come, when to go. Beautiful sight actually, beautiful. So I would feel so awkward there because I was the only saffron brahmachari. If I had somebody else, I would have felt comfortable. So I would feel, who am I? I'm simply a brahmachari and they're all big sannyasis. So I would go in a track pant, which I use for my yoga, and a saffron t-shirt like this. So then I would be treated as normal like them. Other people would treat me normally. Otherwise, they are confused because for them sannyasis are like these are the sannyasis. They have an entourage, they have their discipline, they can't talk to anyone, they're like focused. Means they are focused when they're walking on the street. There's a very amazing system there. It's like awe-inspiring because maintaining traditions is an extremely important service. So they do that. Their focus is essentially on maintaining traditions. In ISKCON also we maintain traditions in parampara, but our focus is more on preaching, getting people to appreciate this tradition. Both are important. Preaching is also important. Going out and telling people about these traditions. And there are some people like the Madhva-sampradaya Sanyasi, they will not go out of India. One of them is going out, but most of them don't go out. They're focused on maintaining and preserving the traditions. That's also important. There are many mystical pastimes. At least I saw one, when our Ānanda Prabhu's son Raghunath was a teenager. He was, I think, 12 or 13. He was very fond of worshipping from childhood Narsimha Devi. That time he used to worship Narsimha Devi a lot in 2011, 2010. Very attached. So now Ānanda Prabhu's son, they were in Udupi. I was there at that time and I saw something incredible. Now the sannyasis don't talk to anyone in the morning time from 4 to 12:30 when they're worshipping the deities. They come to the Krishna temple. See, there are the 8 matas surrounding Krishna temple. So when the sannyasi leaves his matha, he comes to Krishna temple and worships Krishna deity from 4 to 12:30. And then he goes back to his matha, where he worships his deities. So in the Kanur Mata, which is next to the Krishna temple, there is a sannyasi there called Vidyavallabha Tīrtha Swamiji. I know him very well. Of course, he doesn't know me so well. He may not even recognize me now. But I know all this, many of the sannyasis. I talk to them or I offer obeisances to them. I read about them. So Vidyavallabha Tīrtha Swamiji, now he doesn't know who is Ānanda Prabhu's son. Okay? He doesn't even talk to his own Udupi Brahmanas when he is worshipping deities. Here is Ānanda Prabhu's son standing, and Vidyavallabha Tīrtha Swamiji, and especially they don't talk when they're going to worship Krishna. They only look down because their mood is I have to only see Krishna, I have to only worship Krishna. And the servant, the sannyasi servant will walk ahead of the sannyasi, putting water from a sacred pot, and there will be a guard walking ahead of that servant to ensure that nobody comes on the way. and this sannyasi's assistant will put water, and that sannyasi will walk only on that water, indicating that he has to be clean, he has to walk on a clean road, and he has to look down and only look at Krishna and serve Krishna for the entire morning. So when he was walking, Vidyavallabha Tirtha Swamiji suddenly stops, looks at Ānanda Prabhu's son, Raghunath, who is now known as Vrindavan Priya. And Vidyavallabha Tirtha Swamiji stops and talks to him. I was shocked. He told him, my matha, they don't know English so well, but they speak little bit. Come, my matha, come after puja, come, please come. I want you, come. So I was like, what is happening? So little Raghunath said, yes. He's standing on the side. People are standing on the side. Some people watch, some people are busy in their own worship. So I was wondering, first of all, why is he stopping and talking to him? He's not supposed to. And secondly, why are you telling him to come to his matha? So Raghunath said, okay, what time? So he gave him some time. So then Sanyasi went, Maharaj went, he did his worship. And then at a particular appointed time, Raghunath went there. And Swamiji came out of his altar where he was worshipping his deity in that matha. He came out and he gave some special tulsi, special prasad, special flowers of his deity. And what is his deity? Lakshmi Narasimha deity, which Sripad Madhvacharya had given to the Kanur Mutt seer, and that had come in the parampara to our Vidyavallabha Tirtha Swamiji. And nobody told him that this young boy is a devotee of Lord Narasimha. In fact, nobody knows him there. Nobody knew Ānanda Prabhu and their son there. Nobody knows. Because Udupi Brahmanas, how will they know Mumbai ka Borivali ka chokra, ladka, that boy who is doing Sharad Purnima festival, who is serving Krishna? They will not know. And I didn't tell anyone there. And I am seeing that this sannyasi knows. He is directed by Krishna. The Paramatma directs the pure devotees. So the Krishna directed him. Oh, here is a young, beautiful, nice boy who has come from Mumbai, who loves Lord Narasimha. So he tells him, you come to my matha, and there he gives him Narasimha Mahaprasad, Narasimha everything, and telling him that you serve, you remember Lord Narasimha. This is causeless. There is no logic. You can't explain this logically at all. And you may say it is a coincidence, but like this, there are so many coincidences where people are directed by Paramatma. These pure devotees, they live and leave this world by the dictates of Krishna. So like this, there are many pure devotees in the parampara. In each matha, they have put the names of the sannyasis. On the internet, you will find more details. But so they have, I was fortunate a few years back, I managed to enter that Prasadam area, where after coming to ISKCON, they won't allow, because we are from a different sampradaya. But there is a special area of Prasadam where sannyasis take Prasadam and the high-class Brahmanas take. So because my father was alive at that time, and somehow I managed to enter and they allowed me. And I sat there, and it's an amazing sight. When they take Prasadam, they serve Udupi Krishna's Mahaprasad. And when they're serving Prasadam, one Brahman will suddenly stop eating and he will start singing beautiful Bhagavatam shlokas in ecstasy. And everybody else will continue taking Prasad. And he will stop. He will not be eating that time. He will just keep chanting for maybe 3-4 minutes. He will chant some nice prayers. And then he will end it by saying, Bhojana Kale Samaya Venkataramana Govinda, something he will say. And then he will shout, Venkataramana Govinda. And then everybody will say, Govinda. Like we say in ISKCON Haribol, there it is Govinda language. They will say Govinda, Govinda for everything. But then after he says like that, then another Brahmana would stop eating and he would chant verses from Bhagavatam, beautiful in poetic meter. They have so many meters they know for each of these verses. And then he will chant, and then after he finishes, he will say, Bhojana Kala Same, Krishna Prasidate, Venkataramana Govinda, Govinda. Everybody will chant. So it's such a beautiful sight, So the entire Prasadam time you are hearing Bhagavatam verses live. It's not that they played some tape or and the sannyasi is sitting in the sannyasi has a different cook. For Vishweshwar Tirtha Swamiji's cook, he ate Prasadam from the same person's hands for I think 40 years, 42 years. The same person cooked for him every day. They eat only once a day, Prasadam. And if they're really hungry or something, they may take milk in the night but till morning, 12 o'clock, they don't eat anything. And very disciplined, rigorous life. And that's why they don't fall sick even in the age of advanced age. They are serving deities, they're running around. Vishweshwar Tirtha Swamiji till the age of 90, he was traveling all over India, meeting Modi, meeting everyone, preaching, doing yoga. It's amazing. And many, many beautiful things in Udupi. There one thing you will notice, very nice. so many pandas, so many pujaris are there, but nobody will ever ask for money from anyone. It's amazing. My grandfather was also a pujari there. He used to do Anuvyakhyana, which is behind when the Krishna's Abhishek is going on. Just behind the Abhishek area, there is a small room. They have still maintained the same. So by turn, there's some different people. My grandfather was in charge for some, as long as he was alive. We used to worship every day. He used to go there, and when Abhishek is going on, we have to do yajna for Krishna's pleasure. So that yajna my grandfather would do for many years. So I would come from my school. My school was behind the matha. So at the lunchtime, I would come there and I would come and sit outside that yajna shala, and my grandfather would then take me and feed me prasadam in the Krishna matha. So one day I remember in the evening he came home, afternoon after DT worship, after the puja, he would perform Shada ceremony for different people and all that. He came home. I grew with my grandparents. So he came home and very excitedly started telling my grandmother, and I was sitting as a young boy. And he said, today a very amazing incident happened. Today, one of our Brahmana colleagues in the matha, he cheated one guest, because every day guests come to Udupi matha. He told that guest that you give me a donation, and nobody is supposed to have donation. But one of these Brahmanas unfortunately asked for donation, and he said, I'll get you nice food and nice prasadam, something like that. So he fed them something very substandard and took huge money from them. And that man understood that there is some cheating happened, and then he also felt bad that the Udupi, this culture is not there. So he went and directly complained to that Sanyasi, that matha Sanyasi, the Paryaya Sanyasi. That Sanyasi immediately called all the Brahmanas and he asked him in front of everyone, why you did this, and banished him from the village. So in 3 hours, this man had to pack off his bags and leave with his family and leave Udupi village. That was the power of Sannyasis during those days. They commanded so much respect because of the purity they had, that they could banish a person from a village and that person left. So, as long as purity is maintained with the renounced order, a lot of things can happen. Sometimes we focus so much on preaching that we forget that the first service of the renounced order is not preaching. The first service is to maintain his purity. And whatever it takes, one has to do that. And then preaching is a result of that. So like that, so that dignity is maintained, and so it's beautiful. So if some of you are inspired and enthusiastic, I think the Sevak team, there is some team called Sevak Team Coordinator, which was kind of inactive. I think they were, because I was active when I was in Udupi, I was desperate to express my gratitude. That's why I gave Radhashtami class, Janmashtami class. I was feeling deep gratitude to all the devotees in Kandivali, Borivali. And without consulting them, technically they are the authority, the Sevak Team Coordinator. I think Sevak Team is a body that manages all the programs in Kandivali, Borivali region. They are the ones who organize Bhagavatam classes. They are the ones who are supposed to organize festivals, seminars, etc. But we never had meetings during those 7 months when I was in Udupi, because I took the initiative, and with the help of Abhishek, I forced him to do many things, make posters, programs. So I didn't consult any of the Sevak team members, and I think they were also very happy. I should ideally apologize to them, but I never apologized to them because I thought they will be very happy that I'm taking the initiative and I'm doing everything. But yeah, it is their job, and if the Sevak team is inspired and they take the initiative for some yatras anywhere, and if they go to Udupi and if they invite me, I'll be happy to speak more on Madhvacharya's pastimes, and go to the different places there with all of you. So Udupi area is one of the most beautiful places where traditions and purity is still maintained. And people, even this time when I was there, every day in the evening, I saw Bhagavatam classes, such nectar classes, 3-4 classes going on simultaneously. And there are great speakers there. There are people, you'll see so many scholars, and all of them are grahasthas, because sannyasi is only 1 or 2. So sannyasis also give beautiful classes. But there are and grahasthas, so many, I see so many grahasthas there, they're into Shastra study, preaching, but they're essentially focused on traditions. Preaching is to maintain the traditions. Not that, they will not take risks in preaching, like Srila Prabhupada took. Srila Prabhupada made Madhvacharya famous. I think I mentioned that past time where I never knew what Madhvacharya sitting like this Dwaita 2 meant till I came to ISKCON, where I understood that this meant that the soul and God are different. It is Srila Prabhupada who made Madhvacharya very famous. Today in America and everywhere, all over the world, people know Sripad Madhvacharya. Because Prabhupada told the world that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took initiation in the Madhva-sampradaya, Madhvacharya's descendants. Then finally Madhendra Puri, then Ishwara Puri gave initiation to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's followers, then finally Baldev Vidyabhushan, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, then Jagannath Babaji Maharaj, Gaur Krishna Babaji Maharaj, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur, all that parampara is there, Srila Prabhupada, then our gurus in ISKCON today. So we all are following a parampara, and there is a lot of power and strength in traditions and parampara. So we should be very grateful that Srila Prabhupada has given us shelter, has given us, we have been given by the Lord connection to a bona fide lineage, and a lot of mercy and power passes through that lineage. So let us very gratefully express our dedication to Srila Prabhupada's mission by spreading the glories of Krishna. Let us preach and make Krishna consciousness a reality. Let us preach not simply the knowledge, let us make people accept Krishna conscious culture. The culture is more, see, Krishna consciousness is not simply giving lectures and jokes and telling people to chant Hare Krishna. No, ours is a lifestyle preaching. We make our dress also changes, dress style changes. People are doing Kantimala, Tilak, they have altars at home, they get deities at home, they start singing bhajans, and the food, the diet changes, lifestyle changes happen. But it is not, you're not doing it in a fanatic way. You're doing it it's a cultural movement. It's not a religious fanatic movement. So you can accept Krishna consciousness, and you can accept your own sampradaya if you are connected to, and if you are not, and if you are interested in Madhva-sampradaya, the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sampradaya, Gaudiya sampradaya, the lineage, we are there to share what we have learned from Srila Prabhupada, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And you go to any ISKCON temple, they will teach you the science of Krishna consciousness. So like this, please know, in India there are many bona fide sadhus, saints, and we'll never know their glories because they were never after spreading their own glories. Their names are also not mentioned. But when I go to this mathas, I know the reality of the real wealth of Indian culture, the wealth of Vedic culture. So this is our tradition. We don't want any name, fame, glory. We simply want to serve Krishna. We simply want to please Krishna. We want to give Krishna to others. The joy we experience in being loved by Krishna and giving Krishna to others, in front of that, even if you have 1 billion followers on YouTube, or Virat Kohli has how many followers on Instagram? 48 crores? Oof. No, how many? Sorry, I gave a big number. Gaurapal was telling me yesterday, I forgot, he was telling me how many, he was telling me the numbers, they were mind-boggling numbers. We were taking lunch yesterday and he was sharing all these numbers and we were laughing. And we were discussing how it is all useless compared to the Krishna Bhakti, Like Gaurapal was singing Damodar Ashtakam yesterday and we were singing so many Gopi Geet, bhajans, and just being with each other, glorifying Krishna, the joy that we experience, like Gaurapal Prabhu is cleaning toilets, we are staying in the floor. We are living like such a simple life here and seeing such a big star. Gaurapal Prabhu is such a big star. And he's living so simply, cleaning toilets, singing Gopi Geet, bhajans, you would cook some nice prasad for us. We were all together. And compared to this joy of Krishna at the center of our lives, we find all this YouTube thing and all, we find it totally unattractive. All the social media and the world's name, fame, glories. I remember at Ananteshwara temple last month when I was in Udupi, one day I went in dhoti kurta. So that pujari, that boy was serving Charanamrit there. He saw, isn't saffron dhoti kurta tilak? So generally I would go in tilak, but not in saffron like this. As I told you, I would go in track pant. So he saw me like this. He called me and he said, Gopal Das ji, Gaur ji, Gopal Das ji. I said, hey, you know Gaur Gopal Das? So, okay, Mohit is telling me 82 million followers for Virat Kohli. So that's an amazing number. Anyway, coming back to this Pujari. So he asked me, Gaur Gopal Das ji, Gopal Das ji, you know? No? He asked me in Tulu, Kannada, our language. So I said, yeah, he's my close friend. So I showed him WhatsApp status. I showed him our WhatsApp chat messages. He was in ecstasy. So I said, how do you know him? You see YouTube videos? So can you imagine? He's a Pujari there serving Charanamrit in a remote corner. And he knows Gaur Gopal Prabhu. He says, I follow him actively on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. I was like, wow. So it's amazing preaching going on. But a pure devotee, advanced Vaishnavas, they're not interested in the worldly glory. They do it for preaching, for service. They love Krishna. So we are, when we are having prasadam, we are spending time together here, chanting, serving. We feel compared to this, everything pales into insignificance. So let us never forget, many of you are serving together. My humble request on behalf of my seniors, I can only share that, we don't want to fight and have politics and, criticize each other. We will not get anything out of it. We will lose a taste of Krishna Bhakti. We will lose the taste of that experience of Krishna in our heart. If you want to feel loved by Krishna, if you want to feel a sense of belonging, then we need to connect to traditions, we need to connect to parampara, we need to access their mercy. So by glorifying Sripad Madhvacharya and other Vaishnava Acharyas, we will experience that love of Krishna. So I sincerely thank all of you for giving me an opportunity to glorify Sripad Madhvacharya last week and today in this two-part series. Hopefully, we will continue our Bhagavatam classes. I also have one seminar called 5 E's. E means E for England, English. 5 E's of sincere chanting. So maybe whenever Bhagavatam, after a few weeks of Bhagavatam classes, maybe we can have that. But next Sunday, I'm not available for class. So we'll see when we'll have the next class. But thank you very much for your very kindly taking part in the morning programs. I see many devotees are there on YouTube as well as on Zoom for these classes. Sunday morning is not easy to come, but you manage your family responsibilities and you come in the morning at 8 o'clock for the class, 8:30 for the class. I sincerely thank you. So I request all of you to chant Hare Krishna, cooperate with each other, and let us preach and fulfill Sripad Madhvacharya's desire. He left this world instructing everyone. His last words were, go out and preach. So we'll follow his footsteps, and as sincere, dedicated followers of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his warrior commander, Srila Prabhupada, and to please Srila Prabhupada and the Parampara, we will all preach Krishna consciousness, and we will conduct programs, make people devotees, give them Hare Krishna, and make them love Krishna. This is what Sripad Madhvacharya wanted all of us to. This is what Srila Prabhupada wants the entire world to love Krishna. So let us happily give Krishna to everyone we meet. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.